Hey everyone, welcome to the video. In this video, we're going to see Bruno API collaboration, how you can collaborate on your API collections, API testing, API suites with the Bruno. So Bruno provides you two different ways, as you can see on my screen, collaboration with a GUI and collaboration with a CLI. So collaboration with the GUI is a paid functionality where you have to purchase Pro or Ultimate license. It's a part of that. And you can use inbuilt functionality where you don't need to navigate to your terminal. Everything you do from your UI functionality inside the Bruno. You don't need to write any scripts or any commands. You don't need to remember anything. It's just so smooth and easy functionality where you can use Git UI and you can push, pull, do everything inside of Bruno. So this functionality is really important and which is the core of Bruno because Bruno is a local first API client, which is a file-based API client. So whatever you store inside of Bruno, which is a part of your file system inside your local machine. So the way Git works, Git, which is a version control system, Bitbucket and GitLab, which are the different version control systems as we know as a software developers. And if you are someone who is software developer or QA engineer for a long time and you're familiar with a Git, so you know it works with a file-based system. And whatever you want to track, every small changes, you will just track with the Git. You initialize the repo and you commit the changes, and that's how it works. So this is the same thing inside of Bruno, but for the people who don't understand or who don't like or not alike, but who don't want to use a CLI functionality where you have to remember a syntax, scripts, and commands, different commands to work with, and they want to go with the GUI functionality. So this feature is really helpful for them, and that's how you can collaborate on large API collections. You can maintain properly for a long time, so people and developers can come and understand, read the documentation, and use that API collection, that APIs for multiple years. And that's how we maintain a proper structure for projects as well in a real-time scenario. And the second functionality is a CLI mode where you can write every command, which is the same thing which you do with a Git UI. So for the people or even developers knows how to use Git. So this is the same part, which is a part of open source. So if you have a collection inside Bruno and which is available on your local system, so you can just simply open your terminal, navigate to that particular folder or collection, and you can just say git init. It just initialize your repo, and that's how you can just collaborate with CLI where you don't need to do anything. It's just a part of open source features. And let's get started. We'll start with a understanding from the documentation how this both things works, what are the prerequisites which we need, what are the things we need to set up, and other stuff. So let's jump to the documentation first and let's see how we can get started. So hello again, and here we are with the documentation. So first thing you have to do, you have to navigate to docs.usebruno.com, which is the official documentation website for Bruno. And you have to go to Git integration and collaboration. At the overview page, you can see all the prerequisites and all the things which you need to set up or things you need to know. And here is a call out which says Git based UI functionality, which is a part of Bruno, paid Pro and Ultimate edition. If you want to use this functionality, you have to go with a Pro and Ultimate edition, which is a Bruno licensing. You can go with that if you want to use, or if you don't want to use, you can go with the CLI mode as well. So we are going to see both of them and how it works. So let's start with the CLI first. So this is the CLI documentation, and it is really basic for the developers who understand the Git and they use Git in their day-to-day life or for software development. Navigate to the collection. You initialize the Git repo. You commit the changes, you add the changes, and you push to the main branch or whatever the Git repository you have in a GitHub. And this one is a Git UI, so where you have to use the inbuilt Git UI functionality inside of Bruno. So this is a provider, and this is a just introduction page. You have to mention that Git is must installed on your system, because if you haven't installed a Git, then it won't work for you. You have to. It's a mandatory thing. You have Git installed on your system and it's properly set up. So this is a thing you have to do. This is a provider, means what you are providing to a GitHub, what are the links you are getting. And we divided this thing as a provider and consumer because just to give you a better understanding of how things work. So if you are providing something, just like if you're providing any remote origin or adding a remote, so it comes into provider, and consumer means what you are consuming. So just a basic thing how you can take these things while reading a documentation. So that's why we wrap this documentation as a provider and consumer, not something confusing, which is clear. And the consuming is something that you consume. So where this feature is also provide a cloning repository where you have a repo in a GitHub and you can clone inside a Bruno, and Bruno will fetch a Bruno collection from that with a bruno.json file, and it will automatically open all these collection APIs inside of Bruno. So let's get started and through the Bruno, and let's understand how things works. We will create two different collection with a simple echo Bruno request, and we'll push it to Git, and let's understand the both functionality, how Git UI works with the Bruno and how Git CLI you can use as a part of open source. So here we are, and we have a Bruno open inside our system, and we are going to create a collection first. And first functionality which we are going to see is a Bruno CLI mode, which is a part of open source, where you will collaborate normally we do for software projects, and we are going to see how it works and how we can do that. So let's get started. Let's create a collection first, and let's say Git CLI example. The name of this collection, just to make sense, I'm just adding a Git CLI example. You can name it anything which you want, and I will just select a location and I would say create, and inside that I'll create a new request. We'll make it post. So feel free to use this endpoint, which is a Bruno endpoint, Bruno Echo Server endpoint, where it is a post where you can send a body and you can receive the same data. So let's say request name. I'm going to keep it request name as Echo Bruno, and let's say echo.usebruno.com, and let's say create. So once you create that, go to body and just add any data which you want. I'm adding a JSON data, and I will just say name, and name is Bruno. Save the request and hit the endpoint. You will receive Bruno in the response, because the way it works, it just give the whatever the response you have sent, you will receive the same response. That's how the Echo Bruno endpoint works. So simple stuff. Right now open a terminal, and we'll see how you can initialize this repo, how you can push it on a GitHub, and how you can collaborate with the CLI. So I will just quickly say terminal. So this is my terminal. We have a blank screen here. So we will just navigate to Bruno desktop, where my collection is placed, where I just created a collection. You can see the collection path. If you go here, you can see the users Ganesh Patil desktop Bruno Git example, and we'll go to same location. We'll say desktop, go to Bruno, we created a Git CLI example, and here we are. So we are here, and if I say git init as mentioned on the documentation, if you go to git integration and through the CLI, so first step we have to follow is to navigate the collection you have placed. So we navigate that, and right now we have to do git init. We are doing that, and once you have to add, commit, and push. So go to CLI, and I initialize the repo, and I will say git add and git commit. So this is the shortcuts which you can set with the .git global configuration, where you can say, instead of writing a commit large command, you can just say git ci, and you can just simply do the same thing you are doing with the long commands. It's just a configuration you have to do. So it won't work for you. So I will just keep it a normal, just like everyone use, not using any shortcuts. And I would say just delete this. Git command added new collection, and just do that. I want to rename this master to main. So if you don't know the master and main, the new Git 2.0 using a main as their main branch, not a master. So if you're using a master, then it might be creating a conflict where you are get into conflict with if you're using a Git 1.xx something, Git 1 version, and if you are pushing from main branch, it will create a conflict. So make sure that you are using a main and Git 2. So I will just say Git version. So I'm using a 2.47.0. So just make sure you are using a Git 2, not Git 1. And just go to browser and create so this is my GitHub account, and you have to create a repository here just to push your all the collection to the GitHub. And let's say Git example, and I would say create a repository. Once I create a repository, you will see Git also giving you to keep the branch as a main, not as a master. So that's why I renamed that, and that's why this steps is important. And we just need to copy this command from here, and we'll say git remote add, and we will add the remote to this. So if you don't know how Git works, there are a lot of videos and documentation available on the internet. Just go and search. These are the basic commands which requires. So if you're a software developer and want to understand this is really important skills you have to learn version control system. So you can read the documentation, you can understand this. This is the basic stuff which we are doing, and we'll say git remote add and origin, and I would add. Once I do that, I will say git push origin main, and right now it's writing data and it's just sending all the data, and it says send all the data to the GitHub. So right now, if I refresh this page, and you will see that we have a echo Bruno and Bruno.json, which are two files. We create a request, and this is a Bruno.json file. You can just open this, and you can see the content of it: version 1, name, git CLI example, collect, node modules, git. I would just quickly go to terminal and just show you I have how many things which we have, and it will show you the same thing which we have: ls, la. Okay, let's clear this. We just want la, yeah, ls, and you can see I have two files, bruno.json and echo bruno.brew. So same thing which we have on the GitHub. So we push all the files which we have, and right now if you want to just say I change this name Bruno to Ganesh, and let's say I execute this. So right now I have something to commit because I changed something. So right now if I say git status, and it will show me that echo Bruno has changed. You can also see the git diff, and it will showing you that git name from Bruno to Ganesh is changed. So we will commit this because we made some changes. We want to commit this. So we will say git add. You can add a particular file as well, but we don't have a lot of stuff. So we are just using a git add dot. So which means add everything. Git commit, added a new name, and git push origin main. We push these things to main, and right now if you go to echo Bruno, it will show you the name is changed to. So we'll get back to a terminal, and would say I want to git pull origin main, and let's say git merge origin main. So this command is doing just pulling all the latest changes from the GitHub, which is a cloud where we store all your data, and we are just merging that data to our main branch. So merger is not something we can merge, and let's say if I just do clear, and if I go here and and it's already merged. I just want to check the diff of file. I have to mention which file I want to check. I will just quickly say quit and just clear that. We can do one thing. We'll create a one branch just to show you how things works with the branches. Git branch -b, and let's say create a fix or feature new request. So this is not a valid command, or we can use branch checkout switch to. So this is a valid format. You can also use git branch to check out create a new branch. You don't have to use -b, and then you can use the checkout to do that. But git checkout just do things simple. You just create a new branch. So once you do that, right now we have to make changes, and let's see. I will just add a new request, and I would say new request, say new endpoint, and I will copy not a copy. We'll put the same echo dot usebruno.com, and everything looks good, and we'll just execute the empty command, and we'll receive nothing because we are not sending anything. Right now if you go to terminal and let's see status, and we change this endpoint, this request, a new request, and git push to origin, not main, which is not our main branch. This is our local branch which we are adding, and it will just send the latest data to the branch, and it has created a pull request because we are sending some changes from different branch, and we are a owner of this branch, so we are able to merge, and we can just merge this and just confirm merge. Everything looks good. Right now if you go to your main, and if you say origin main, so right now we have just main everything. So even if you go to, so these are the different branching and strategies. So that's how you can just keep a track of everything. And if I just show git diff, or not a git diff, I would just want to show the ls, all the files which we have. You can see like I have new endpoint, which is a part of my previous branch which we created. Feature example, you can just see the branches and add a new request. So this is the branch which we created, and we added this file into that branch. But right now we pull all the merges to a main, and right now we are able to see everything into a main branch. And this is the basic flow of how Git works with Bruno collection, how can merge, how can share this collection with your colleagues. You can share this collection, just they need to clone this and they can start contributing to this. They can open this collection inside of Bruno, which you're going to see in the just next example. And that's how it happens with the that's how it works with the Git CLI, where it's a part of open source. So feel free to just create a collection, merge, and just collaborate with your friends with using a Bruno and maintain a really well documented API collection. Feel free to use this. So this is how it works on the CLI. So right now we are going to see how it works for the GUI functionality, which is a part of the Ultimate and Pro licensing. So we'll start from the documentation again and let's see how it works. So you create a collection, you click on the Git icon, and here are different options where you can check out. I will just zoom in, check out things, save the remotes, and bunch of stuff you can do. So we'll see how you can do this practically inside of Bruno and how this functionality works actually, and yeah, why this is helpful and everything. So I'll just get back to my account and we'll create a one repo. We'll say example, which we are going to create a same collection name, and let's say I just created a repository. We created a repository. We need this URL, and right now we are going to open a Bruno, and we'll see like how we can use a Git UI functionality, which is a core feature, and this is an important feature for all of the people who want to go with a Git UI functionality and maintain documentation collaboration on with API. So we have this Git CLI collaboration. We'll just close this, or we'll keep it here, and we'll create a new collection called Git CLI example, and we'll choose a location. We'll select the same location and let's create not a Git CLI, Git UI, because Git CLI is already available. So don't create a duplicate collection, just give the errors, and let's create a request. Again, this is a post endpoint, and we have to put the name called echo Bruno again, and let's say this is echo endpoint echo dot usebruno.com, and let's create that. Right now it's a Git UI, and this is something which are not initialized. This is a Git CLI which we initialized previously. We created some branches, we push the code, we pull the changes, the latest changes, we created branches, we initialize repository. We see all the things how it works in a Git CLI. Right now I'm going to show you how it works with the Git UI functionality. And we created a collection, we created this request, we'll add something to a body, and let's say I selected a JSON and my name, and let's say initialize the repository, and I initialize this repo. I will add remotes, because once you create a repository, it's always a good practice to have the remote connections. Remote is just connecting your local code to GitHub, which is you can take it as a cloud where you push your code and everything. And I will add a remote first quickly. So this is the URL which I need, and I just added as a origin. You can keep this name anything, not specifically origin, but always it's a good practice to keep it your main branch or main origin as a name of origin as same thing. Don't change anything. Just follow the best practices which GitHub follow, but you can keep it anything up to you. So we just do this and we executed this. Now it's time to commit the changes. So as you can, if you remember previously we initialize the repo, then we commit a change, we add a changes, then we commit changes, and we push and we pull, and then we created a branches. So we are going to follow the same pattern in this Git UI. So I initialized the repo, I added a remotes, origins are available here, and if you go to Git UI and if I say changes, so you can see all the changes which you see here. And once you click on this add button, it will add all changes, or if you want to just commit this file, you can just only click on this button and it will just commit this file. I'm going to commit all things because I don't want to commit each and every changes separately. I want to commit everything at once. I committed this, say commit changes, and say changes, and commit that. Once you commit the changes, right now we added a changes first, then we committing changes. Right now it's time to push. So in a push, it's an interesting thing. If your branch is main, right now we don't have multiple branches. We have a main branch on your local and we have a main branch on your remote. But if you have multiple branches, you can select the different branches from here, or you can go to advanced and you can check the different branches, but we don't have anything right now. And even if for the, I'll just quickly copy this. I'll just quickly, yeah. So you can just remote, and when you have a different origin, just like a upstream origin where you are connecting with a remote repository separately, which is not you own by someone else, by your organization as well. So you add a upstream, you add a origin. So you can select a different origins from here and select a different branches as well. So we'll push the changes, and once you push, you can just simply say close. And if you go to browser, if you say, so right now it's added every changes which we have. If you see, we have a one. If you see, we have one echo Bruno request which we created, and we have Bruno.json. So I have this echo Bruno.json file, and I'm executing this. I'm receiving this value, and I push these changes. Right now, I want to create a branch, and I want to add some my changes, and I want to push it, and I also want to push that latest changes once I'm done with the pushing. So create a new branch, and let's say sample branch. So this is a demo branch which we are creating. So it will automatically just check out you to the branch which you have, and I'm going to create a new request. If you go to settings, instead of adding writing a request again and again, you can just say HTTP and add this request, and you can just save it. So right now what will it will do, so whenever you click on new request, it will just add this request automatically there instead of typing request every time. So it's just a pretty preset thing, and this is really quickly fast. I always use this feature, and just put a name called new echo request, and click. Once you do that, go to body and just say JSON and add name, and let's say Ganesh. So once I do this part, and just change the name, because I want, once we will fetch some changes, it should be changed something else. So right now we have create a new request. We added a request URL. We send some data, and right now we have something to commit. So remember, if you want to commit something, go to Git UI, and here you can see what changes. So in the Git UI, you can see all the diff in the nice UI format. It's a nice tree you can see, and this thing is changed. In the preset, I added a request type HTTP. If you remember the preset thing, which I just showed you. So this is something I added as called presets. So it just configured the same thing in a Bruno.json, where I added a presets, request type HTTP, and request URL ecobruno.com. So this is something which updated, and this is a complete new thing which we added. As you can see, the added label as well. And I will just say commit all changes. So once you click on this button, it shows that add, and I say request and commit. Again, we will follow the same thing. If you want to commit something, go here and commit the change. Don't forget this. And if you want to push, so go to push, and you can select a branch, origin or different branches. Right now we are submitting this to a sample branch, from sample branch to main, and I will just say push, and it will push my all changes to main, and it will create a separate pull request on my repo, which we have here, as you can see. And added a new request, I would say yes, add, and you can see the same changes, same diff which we already seen in a Bruno Git UI. So it just gives the same functionality which you can see on the Git, and this is a work same way the Git works with a inside directly inside a Bruno. Not, you don't need to navigate to a lot of screens. And I will just say merge and confirm merge, and once it get merged, it will automatically update that code. And if I go here, so right now it's merged. So but as you can see, if I just check out my branch to main, and if I say checkout, this request is not appearing, the request which we created, because right now we are in a main branch. But once I check out to main to sample branch, it will showing me both are the changes, or both are the requests which I have. But I want to see this into a single branch, which is the main, because I'm going to pull this latest changes from my branch, from my GitHub repo, and it will just going to show me everything latest update which I did. So I will just say go to pull, and I would say just pull the changes, and go to main, check out main, and I would say I want to pull changes, and it will pull changes, and it will showing me that I have this both the requests. So if you remember that once I switch to main, previously it's not showing the both requests, because changes are not pull, the latest changes which are not available in our Bruno. But right now we pull the latest changes inside of Bruno and showing me the both things. So right now just we'll do the one more time. We'll do the changes and let's say Bruno, and we'll change this just an entity as well. Let's say role, and the role of Bruno is Chief Joy Officer. This is a funny title. I really like this. If you go to website, we have a nice website and where we have added a Bruno. This is a really nice role which I like. And just apart from this, we'll just uh, again we added in the main branch. We should not add this right now. Nothing is changed. I just want to check this. I don't have anything to commit. I would just create a new branch and say change. While creating a branches, just make sure while using underscore or hyphen, this kind of symbols, if you add a space here or something like that, it will going to create a conflict or kind of errors. While creating a branches, just make sure you are adding a acceptable or right symbols. GitHub don't allow because the way Bruno Git UI works have a same rules and regulation which Git follows. So make sure that whatever you are adding here, just adding which is accepted by the Git as well. Don't add a space or don't add any unintentional this kind of symbols, which is not acceptable. So we'll just create a new branch and it automatically switch to change name, and I will just change this to Chief Joy Officer, and I will execute this, and you can see I'm receiving this value. So once you do that, you can go to Git UI and you can see I'm changed the name from name Bruno to role Chief Joy Officer, and I want to commit this. The way we commit, if you remember, just add this commit changes and say change the role or change the entity, whatever it is. And then adding something meaningful message, and once you do that, you will say push to change branch to main. It just pushing the changes. It will create a new branch as we already seen. If you go here, created a new pull request. I'm not going to change everything. Change the role. Created a pull request. We are able to merge PR because we are owning this repo. If you are submitting PR to anyone other person's repo, you are not able to merge. So once you do that, so right now if I check out to main branch, it won't show you the latest changes. If I just say check out branch to main, and if I check out, so right now you can see the name is Bruno, not role. But once I pull the changes from that particular from the origin, from the main branch, and it just shows that you have pulled the latest changes, you can close and you will see I have pulled all the changes, and that's how it works. So this is how it works, and we seen all the push pull, how can I add remotes. You can add multiple remotes as well, new remote, and whatever the URL it is. I'm not going to add anything here because we don't have and we don't need. You can create a multiple branches. You can check out branches. You can also check out to remote branches from here. Change name main sample branch. You can do that from here as well. Right now I will just skip to main. So this is how the Git UI works. We've seen all the how you can add a remote, how you can initialize repository, how you can create a new branch, check out the branch, push, pull, remotes, and everything. So why this feature is important and how it works. So Bruno, as already I mentioned, Bruno is a local API client, which is sync with your API files in direct links from your system, which is a file base. So Git also works. Git just track your all files you have in your Git repository, and you can just do everything from the terminal, and that's how the software development works, and that's why we use version control system. And this is the same way Bruno Git functionality works. The Git UI functionality is really helpful for the people who are not want to use the CLI mode, or their companies want to use Git UI instead of using a Git CLI. So they want to use this feature. So this is really helpful for QA engineers, testers, and for the people who are not really hardcore developers and don't want to solve conflicts and everything from their own commands and scripts. They want to use simple, nice, structured UI, and they want to track everything from this thing. So if you're a UI guy, this feature is really important. This is really interesting for you. Feel free to read documentation from official docs.use Bruno, and we have a really nice documentation here which gives a better idea, clarity, how it works, how you can use, and how this functionality works. So you can go to introduction, producer, consumer, and bunch of stuff. So feel free to read the documentation. Feel free to reach out if you have any issues, if you're running into any problems, or if you encounter any issues and you have anything want to share. Feel free to join a Discord server, in the Bruno Discord server, and be a part of. There are 2,000 people are there who will help you solve your issue. So thanks for watching this video. stay tuned. There are a lot of amazing content which is coming up if you want to learn more about APIs and Bruno. And yeah, stay tuned. See you in the next video.